introducing you to people across North Carolina and around the world who put their Catholic faith into action. This is FaithWorks on Catholic 540 AM Divine Mercy Radio. Now, here's your host for FaithWorks, Ellen White.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of FaithWorks on Divine Mercy Radio. Our show highlights individuals through God's grace who put their faith into action daily. Amazing people who have an interesting, sometimes overlooked impact on our Catholic faith. On FaithWorks, we share their stories. I'm your host, Ellen White. As America approaches its 250th birthday, communities across the nation are taking time to reflect on our country's history, the ideals of freedom and citizenship, and the responsibilities that come with them. At St. Catherine of Siena School in Wake Forest, students and teachers have embraced this opportunity through the Freedom 250 celebration, bringing history to life through faith, learning, service, art, music, and school spirit. Today, we're delighted to be joined by two members of the St. Catherine of Siena faculty, Bonnie, Mallory, and Renee Jandorf, along with students Harriet, Misha, and Raphael. Together, they'll share how Freedom 250 has inspired their school community, what they've learned about America's past, and how their Catholic faith helps shape their understanding of responsible citizenship. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. This is so exciting. We are so excited to hear about your experiences and the many ways St. Catherine of Siena School has celebrated this important milestone. So welcome, Bonnie, Renee.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Harriet, Misha, and Raphael. So nice to have you here this morning. Okay, so let's start with just a brief introduction and a background why you feel like this celebration is so important. So for listeners who may not be familiar with America 250, what is it and why is our nation preparing to celebrate?
America 250 is the Trump administration's nonpartisan public-private partnership operated out of the National Park System. And it was created for us to celebrate this important milestone in our history. So I first became aware of it during the campaign of 2024, and my husband noticed that Trump was planning some things, and I kind of filed it away. And after the new year, we had a snow day, and we had some time to think. And I called Renee and I said, what do you think we should do about this? And so that's kind of where it began. It was my husband making me aware that that the administration was planning to do something special for America on our 250th anniversary.
And it planted the seed for you, Bonnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember having a conversation with you briefly about your memory as a child and America's bicentennial in 1976. What do you remember most, and why did it leave such a lasting impression on you?
So yes, I'm a dinosaur, and I believe I was 10, maybe 11. And I actually remember quite a bit, surprisingly. I remember that my town, Crescent, Pennsylvania, paid artists from the high school to come go around the town and paint every fire hydrant red, white, and blue. Every underpass, under the railroad tracks, they paid these artists to do murals. And those murals continued to stay up for a long time. I want to say up until 5 years ago, they painted over them. And at 4th of July, we had a massive parade for a tiny little town. A group from Pittsburgh came in, and that impressed me. I couldn't believe somebody, like a band from Pittsburgh, would march up my street, but they did. And the firemen had their Firemen's Festival. And one of the funny things I remember is they made like a little paddy wagon, and any man that did not have an Abe Lincoln beard on the 4th of July, they put in the paddy wagon, and their kids had to go around town and find 100 pennies to get them out of jail. So it became like a scavenger hunt for the whole for the whole town.
That's such a great
And
idea.
so, but you ask my sister, and she remembers nothing. So I was just happened to be the right age to remember all these things, and how important it was in developing my sense of patriotism.
Yes, right. And when you were planning this, Bonnie and Renee, what were you hoping the students would gain from this experience? What do you think, Renee?
So, one of the things that Bonnie and I really value is patriotism and leadership. And so through activities like this, oration, essays, there's a sense of community and virtue that the students are exploring. And when we, combine it together as a community, it really allows for them to learn a little bit about their country, to learn a little bit about community, doing things together, and taking that with them, is our hope to, becoming leaders, future leaders. So.
Great. And by the looks of these students, I think that they certainly had that experience. So I can't wait to get into that. Okay. So how did you go about designing a program that would engage students from multiple grade levels? I think it's a little bit the challenge.
Well, I'd like to take credit for that, but really the Trump administration, I went onto the website and they had a teacher toolkit. And it had suggested activities, and I went down through them, and then when I called Renee, we went down through each of them, and we said, "Oh, we can do this, and we can do that," and then I'm thinking, how do we incorporate the art? How do we incorporate the music? And so that's really how it began. It's the framework of the teacher toolkit that the Freedom 250 website had available to us.
And you didn't have to create the wheel. They already
That's right. That's right.
There for you. That's so great.
That's right.
All right. So tell us about the Freedom 250 kickoff and the significance of raising the Betsy Ross flag.
Well, like anything, when you begin something, it should begin with Jesus, and it should begin with something meaningful and patriotic. So we, after our Friday Mass, the entire school went over to the flagpole. We took the regular American flag down, said some prayers. Father blessed the Betsy Ross flag, and it was raised. And it was wonderful because it incorporated our Knights of Columbus. They came and helped us with the celebration, actually put it together for us. We all said the Pledge of Allegiance, sang the national anthem, and it was just a really neat way to let the kids know something special's happening from here forward. And as long as that different flag, that Betsy Ross flag, is up, the celebration is continuing.
I didn't even pay attention as I was coming in this morning. Is it out
It's
there?
still there.
Yeah,
It's still there.
That's so great. And I love that the primary focus is on the Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Start with the Mass and then get into the patriotic activities. I think it's so great. And it was at pre-K through?
Yeah.
That's these little images that you're giving to these students is so incredibly powerful. All right. So, and you have you had a rock painting project, Freedom 250 rock painting project. Why was that so important to all the students?
That was my version of the fire hydrants.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's still a work in progress. The design is up on the classroom board, and next fall a student is going to come in. We've prepped the rock; it's ready to go, and that student will then paint the rock.
You know what I envisioned? Every student had their own little rocks that they were painting.
No,
this is one big rock.
One big rock.
And kind of like what you see on college campuses when
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I'm curious, what's the image on the rock? I see.
It is American flag background with Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the front. Wow, that's quite a project.
Yeah.
I'll have to send us some pictures so we can post on our website. All right. And the oration competition was a major part of the celebration. Why did you choose to focus on famous American speeches and writings?
So, famous American speeches, we had quite a bit. We had some songs, poetry, and speeches. So it was pretty diverse, but each one also honed in on certain speaking skills. Some were easier to memorize than others. So it allowed for the students to gain different points through their, competitiveness and like their use of skills. So those choices were very American and really spoke to the things that we value as Americans, but also touched on, a variety of eras in our history. So really important pieces.
I'm curious, Renee, what were some of the values that you touched on with them? Do you remember?
Yes. So patriotism, courage, bravery, unity, equality, almost all of them.
Yes. Wow. And did you allow the students to choose what they would recite, or how did that work out? Tell me the specifics about that.
They did. Yes, they did choose which ones that they wanted to recite. And so because each one had a different level of difficulty, and with that, there were certain points awarded to those certain pieces. So that gave them an opportunity to strategize and win and gain more points.
And then they had to present in front of the entire school. How did that work as a presentation?
So there were different levels, Bonnie, weren't there, of competition. So there was help me explain.
Well, we divided them first into 4th and 5th grade. They competed against each other, and then the middle school competed against each other. And then we brought in the Knights of Columbus. We brought in the Legion of Mary. We brought in Daughters of the American Revolution as voluntary judges. So, right. Yeah. So there were 2 judges in each round, and there were 3 rounds of competition where the kids did their speech 3 times in one evening. And you could see as each time went at each round, the confidence got higher. The competitiveness started to come in. They were seeing what other kids are doing in their speeches, what makes an effective oration. And then they just naturally incorporated it into what they were doing. So it was really cool to see.
Have you done anything like this school-wide before, like with oration activities?
Not to my knowledge. When I was in school, I competed in forensics, and God willing, we're starting a team next year in that.
That's funny, Monty. When I think of forensics, I think of police investigation.
No.
What is forensics?
Forensics is competitive speech making, and there are different categories like persuasive, informative, debate, extemporaneous. So we just kind of wanted to let their toe dip in the competition aspect of it. So it was a long afternoon, and it was a very competitive. I'm going to be honest with you. We had several ties, which I did not think was going to be possible when there were 6 judges and they were all getting mixed around and mixed in the different rounds. But the competition was so tight that we had several ties at the levels. Yeah,
what was remarkable about that particular competition was that students who don't usually do other things and with sports or I would call them maybe underdogs, sort of rose to the occasion, and a skill that maybe they or we didn't know existed surfaced. Yeah. And that was extremely powerful.
That's so great. And this is a powerful skill to have.
Yes.
Such a necessary skill.
Yeah.
I think. When you can speak well and know how to command vocabulary in a way that it comes across in a powerful way, I think it's very good. All right, so an essay contest and some of the themes that students explored in the essay contest. Tell me how it was set up, and was it by grade, and then what were some of the themes that they discussed in their essay?
Okay, so we had 2 levels. So the first level was 4th and 5th grade, and they were combined. And then we had a second level, which was the middle school, and that was 6th, 7th, and 8th. And so for the 4th and 5th grade, we used the prompt from the Freedom 250 teacher toolkit on the whitehouse.com website. And that that prompt was why I love America. And so for them, they wrote like a 4-paragraph essay with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And so the 4th and 5th grade teachers helped their students with that. And so for then the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, Father Bowker gave us the prompts. And so we used the prompt, and they had a choice of 2. So the first one was, what is the role of what is the role of religion in democracy, or what emerged after the revolution that made America different? So they had a choice between the 2. And so a week prior to the competition, I told them that this was not a research essay. And so it should be something that they pulled from their experiences in travel, seeing monuments, national parks, experiences in class, anything that they learned their entire education in any class, to draw from those things. And please do not, Google any information.
Right. Yeah.
And so I gave them an outline, so that they could fill in with scant information. And then the day of the competition was just a regular school day, and they had 1 hour to write a 5-paragraph essay with no help except for that outline that they were to bring with them. And so the direction was that it was, just bullets. They weren't, supposed to have any more information except for just an outline of ideas that they could put together in an essay. And so they had 1 hour to write a 5-paragraph essay by hand, and they all did it.
I love, Renee, that you're encouraging the students to creatively write in that environment, because it takes them away from technology. And that's a whole other discussion for another day. But
True.
You're showing them by sitting there that this is possible, and giving them the prompts, to draw from their own experiences. That is such a great idea.
Thank you.
What stands out the most for you as a teacher through this experience, do you say, with these students?
Well, Raphael, do you mind if I quote you? So, in my class, we do a lot of reflection on writing. And one of the things that Raphael told me at one time was that he learned through that experience that he was able to write a 5-paragraph essay in an hour. And he ended up winning 4th place. So I think that is, really important for kids to see what they are capable of doing, and to bring their highest level of compete, and see from that they have the ability to make something like that happen. And so I think that was the number 1 takeaway for me. And the number 2 takeaway was just how well the students were able to intertwine deep insights, faith. Number 1, all of them touched on faith and the freedom that we have to celebrate our faith. And in some way or another, they all drew that into their essay, despite the fact that they had 2 different topics. One was focused on religion and the other one was not, but they all touched on it in some way. Mm-hmm. So
I think it would be a good idea to highlight some of these papers in the bulletin, so people can see, especially leading up to and even beyond, the 4th, as we celebrate 250 years. I don't know. I think it would be quite impressive to see some of this information. We always learn from each other. Mm-hmm. Sometimes mm-hmm. we have the mistaken notion that it's the adults in the room that are teaching us, but we learn just as much from you. So,
absolutely. That's definitely true.
I think that that would be something that would be good to highlight. Before we move on to some of the students' questions, we've got just a couple here on art and music. Tell me a little bit about how that was incorporated into the celebration as well, too.
Well, really, it's all rolled into the Patriot Pep Rally that we had last month. And our music teacher, we decided on some patriotic songs that they were going to learn to sing and memorize, and that we all performed them at the pep rally. So they were learning God Bless America and, just your wonderful patriotic songs that just warm your heart. Yeah. And so that's how we incorporated the music. The art, she did projects in her class and then displayed them around the school so that the student body could see the patriotic works of art.
Oh, that's great. And then the patriotic pep rally. I think, you know what, as you're coming to the end of the school year, and, we've all experienced this with our own children, it's like a month out. There's nothing that can calm kids down.
No.
I mean, we try as best we can, and they do too, but I can't imagine having a patriotic pep rally at the end of the school year.
Well, it was a little bit more than just the pep rally. It was a whole day, and Renee spoke so well to that. So I'm going to defer to her, but it piggybacked on an entire day of multicultural celebration. It was our multicultural day where we turned the entire campus into different countries. And we did activities and art and cooking and different things with different cultures around the world. And then the ending celebration was the celebration of our own culture with the Patriot Pep Rally.
That is a great way to bring it home.
Right. And Renee, you had such a great description of the day. I'm going to let you comment on that.
Thank you. So to cap it off, before we went into talking about the winners of the essay at the end of that day, as I led into, talking about the winners, I thought it would be a nice thing to talk about why all of these things are related. It was also the feast day of St. Catherine of Siena. Yes. So we started that day with Mass and celebrating the feast day of St. Catherine of Siena. And then we had the multicultural day and then our pep rally, our Freedom 250 pep rally. And so, while all of those things seem very unrelated, they're actually very, very united. They have one common theme, which is, like community and the ability, the freedom, to celebrate our faith and our religion. And so, all of those things tie together, especially a multicultural day celebrates everyone's unique background. And that's what America was founded on. And our founding fathers recognized that. And when people get together with different backgrounds, they can have dialogue and make progress and exchange ideas. And that's democracy in a nutshell. So all of those things really did tie together and really exhibit what it means to be American.
Very well said. Oh my gosh, this is so incredibly exciting. I can't wait to talk to you guys. All right, if you're just tuning in, this is Ellen White with FaithWorks on Divine Mercy Radio. And today I'm joined by Bonnie Mallory and Renee Jandorf from St. Catherine of Siena Catholic School, along with students Harriet, Misha, and Raphael to talk about their school's Freedom 250 celebration. In our conversation today, we are exploring St. Catherine of Siena and how the school commemorated America's upcoming 250th birthday. And we are grateful for our show's sponsor, Thales College, for supporting FaithWorks and helping us share these stories of faith in action. All right. We get to turn it to the students now. So, okay, so I am so excited to be talking to the students now about your experiences. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and your grade levels.
So I've been at this school for 7 years, and I'm going into 7th grade. And throughout the years, I feel like St. Catherine's has been like a very fun school, and it's not just about learning. It's more of the teachers and the friends and the memories that you make there too.
Tell us your first name.
Oh, my name is Harriet Ramos.
Harriet, okay. And who's next? Tell us about yourself and your grade level.
Okay, my name is Misha, and I am in 8th grade. And I've been at the school for, I think, about 10 years now. And I'm part of the cross-country team and choir. And I think I'm going to be going to Cardinal Gibbons High School next year.
Yay! And yeah, so you said you're in 8th grade. You're actually officially done with 8th grade.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're
I just realized that.
a rising freshman in high school. That's great.
Yeah, just like Harriet said, I think since I've been at the school for a very long time, just like a couple months ago, I was thinking to myself how I should, thank the school for kind of, raising me. And this is a little not humble of me, but I made this ginormous crochet portrait of Mother Mary with like symbolism, like 8 stripes representing 1st to 8th grade and like 12 stars representing the whole academic journey. And like, I just really wanted to congratulate and thank the school for raising me and also leave my mark, because I've been here a really long time.
Yeah, it's part of your family. Yes. I'm sure it's beautiful. I'd love to see it. Is it hanging in the school?
Oh, yeah, it's in my car.
Oh, okay.
I just got it last night.
Oh, beautiful, Misha. That's a labor of love is what we like to say. All right, Raphael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Raphael, and I've been at the school since kindergarten. Since kindergarten, I've become really close with the school. It's almost become my second family. My favorite thing about being at SCS and how small it is how close all the students are with each other. Unlike other schools and other big middle schools, you have friends that you only see in a few classes. But at St. Catherine's, I get to see them throughout the whole day. And I'm glad to be able to be with them because we're all so tight with each other and you get to really know people. So graduating this year as an 8th grader is almost bittersweet for me. It's going to be sad for me leaving the school, but it's an open door into a new future.
Very well said, Raphael. Thank you very much. All of you, such beautiful points. Okay, so let's move on to Freedom 250 and the various activities. Which one was your favorite and why?
So my favorite was the One Nation Under God play. I was a colonist, like a background colonist, and it was my favorite because I really love acting, and I felt like it was like a great opportunity to like express my feelings and like how I feel about America and how it has like developed.
Thank you, Harriet. Okay, how about you, Raphael?
My favorite Freedom 250 activity had to have been the essay competition. I feel like I was able to really dive into my abilities of being able to write an essay in 1 hour. And there's this motto I go by every day: be comfortable with being uncomfortable. In that 1 hour, I was super uncomfortable because I'm not much of a creative person. I usually have to have instructions to go about my day. And so being able to just come up with things on the spot, I felt like a spotlight was on me. And after the essay was done and I found out I got 4th place, I was so pleased with myself because I had almost no confidence going into it. Believing it, I learned so much about myself and I learned so much about the country.
I love that. And being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm going to have to incorporate that into my own life and put it on the refrigerator so I see it every day. That's a really good point. And I'm curious, why a motto? And is this something that your family encourages, or you just picked up on your own, or is it school related?
So I got it from actually my 7th grade soccer coach. His name is Mr. Johnson. At the time, I wasn't like much of a runner. I wasn't very fast. And so we would do a lot of running during soccer practice. And to get through the running and to like shut off our minds, he gave us the motto, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. In life, you're not always going to be comfortable. There's going to be so many times where you feel out of place or you feel like you don't belong. But those are the times where you need to find to thrive, because they'll be the biggest learning opportunities in life.
Okay, I think I'm just going to hand you the mic and you can just continue on with this interview this morning. Very well said. And kudos to Coach Johnson for being such a good coach, it seems like. All right. How about you?
Oh my goodness, Raphael said it really good. I actually felt very similar because I didn't write that much. My favorite part of the Freedom 250 activity was probably the essay competition, just like him. And like I said, I barely write. I don't write that much, and I don't really look into it until, like, as I was, like, thinking about this competition, I was like, I should really close the school year off with something meaningful to me, and I should actually, like, put in an effort, And so, for the essay competition, I wanted something, like, that relates to me and how I can incorporate something that matters to me also into America, too. So my prompt was, what's the role of religion and democracy? And like, luckily for us, we went to DC, Washington, DC a week before. So we experienced a lot of like American stuff, like the Smithsonians and such. And as I was writing about the Smithsonians. I was writing about Abraham Lincoln. I was also writing about Martin Luther King Jr. because he was actually the speech I chose for my oration competition. And I really wanted to include also diversity because though we're a Catholic school, I realized that when we're talking about religion, it's in general, not just Christianity. So I incorporated how all religions come together to make America beautiful. And along with that, coincidentally, a week prior, I experienced some criticism and racism. And I was like, I need to include this because teens and younger kids, we experience this all the time. And so I was like, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to make myself heard. And I want people to realize America has such intelligent, young, courageous kids who know what they're doing, who have a voice, and realize that religion, diversity make America great. And so I wrote that into my essay, and I got first place in the competition.
Pick a couple of lines, if you don't mind, and share some things from your essay.
Yeah, I'm lucky I wrote that today.
You are lucky. I saw it right in front of you.
Okay, so for one of my body paragraphs, I talked about how religion influences major movements in America. And I talked about Martin Luther King Jr. because I actually kind of looked up to him after, Freedom 250. And I talked about his speech. And in his speech, he said something about Black men and white men, Jews, Gentiles, Catholics, and Protestants will be able to join hands and be together. And I really just connected that into my essay because it literally talks about also religions and diversity coming together to join into a democracy, into a beautiful nation. And then I also talked about Arlington Memorial in Washington, D.C., because it houses like soldiers from the Vietnam War. It houses soldiers from, a long time ago. And like, it just shows that no matter your race, no matter what religion you believe in, no matter who you are, even if you're like a baby or something, you will matter and you will be shown respect, no matter who you are.
Yes, very well said. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's beautiful. All right, so I want to ask about American history and something that you learned through this experience that you did not know about before. What do you think?
So for one of the Freedom 250 activities, there was the oration competition. And as my teacher said earlier, you get to choose which one you wanted to present, and I chose the Declaration of Independence. And as I was rehearsing, I tried to understand it, not just memorizing it, because whenever you understand something, it helps you rehearse it better. And so as I was understanding it, I was thinking to myself, there were so many points on this declaration that helped America become independent and why they should separate from Great Britain. And I just thought that was really cool because they had many great points.
And I think of David and Goliath in a situation like this when we're told over and over again, you can't beat them, they're too big. and to think about the bravery and the courage of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and also the colonists that were here too, and how brave and courageous they were in spite of going up against Great Britain. It's quite a powerful thing to reflect on. So yes, really good. And I love that you said it's much better to memorize something if you understand what it is that you're memorizing. And I think it was Einstein that actually said, you have to be able to explain something simply to understand it well. If you can't explain it simply to people, then you don't understand it. So that's a really good point. How about you, Raphael?
Something that surprised me about American history is how closely religion is intertwined with our Constitution. With a country as big as the United States and so diverse in beliefs and religions, we're all still united under the Constitution and our independence and our freedom. In that Constitution, it talks about how we all have God-given rights, unalienable rights that can't be taken from us. And so people, they think so many things, and like they may not believe in God, but America was made and united through the works of God. And it just surprised me so much that people go about their day as an American citizen and they don't realize how closely we are to God.
Wow. How about you?
Okay. Before Freedom 250, I only knew like famous people like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, of course. But after Freedom 250, I learned much more about them and how they actually mattered into how our nation is today. Like Abraham Lincoln, he was calm under fire. He was calm, he was resilient, and he realized that everyone matters. Every single life matters. And so it just inspires me today to realize I matter, you matter, we all matter. God cares for us, and we're amazing. We're beautiful.
Wow, I am so impressed with what you guys have learned from this. Which American historical figure do you admire most after participating in this program, would you say? Let's start with you, Harriet.
I would say Thomas Jefferson, not just because he's like a very famous person and like he's very well known, but he was very brave in leading the Declaration without fear of being criticized or even executed by people from Great Britain. And I just thought that he was very brave in doing so. And yeah.
Have you ever been to Monticello, where Thomas Jefferson is in Virginia?
No.
That might be a good trip for you to take so you can visit where he was and the house that he built and designed. Yeah. And there's a lot of really, really neat history there, especially with your admiration for him. I'd recommend it. How about you, Raphael?
An American historical figure that I admire the most after participating in the Freedom 250 program has to have been Benjamin Franklin. Mm-hmm. He was known for his elaborate writing, and in the oration competition, I picked one of his writing pieces, and it was called The Whistle. The Whistle is a short story about what Benjamin Franklin learned as a kid. And he learned that some things we overprice too much or we give too much for it. And sometimes we need to slow down and really learn the value of ourselves. In the story, I remember him saying, what a pity it is that he should pay so much for his whistle. And he was basically saying how he's giving so much of his time and spending so much on pleasing other people that he doesn't take time to find himself and recognize how much he should be valued. And after really going through the whistle over and over, saying it over and over, and becoming his character, it grew a deep admiration for him of how wise he was and how much contribution he gave into the independence of our country.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well said, Raphael. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Benjamin Franklin was quite a creative character, and he contributed a lot to the history of our country. So, and I love that it was the whistle. I think that there's a philosophy major here or something brewing for the future. I don't know. You're quite the thinker, and I'm learning so much from you, from all of you. Okay, Misha, what do you have? I'm curious to know who your favorite character is from our history.
This was a really hard decision because I think everybody like that we learned about is amazing, but in relations to my personal life and my morals and beliefs, I chose Abraham Lincoln because he was committed to preserving the Union at the time of Civil War and the freedom of everybody, no matter if you are Black, no matter if you are Hispanic or Asian. And he, like I said earlier, he also demonstrated strong leadership under pressure. Like, he was very calm most of the time. And it inspires me and also my brother, because we were talking about that before this, to no matter what people say, no matter what people think about you, when you look in the mirror, you love yourself and God loves you.
Amen. Amen. And I think you said that you saw the Lincoln
Yes.
Memorial in DC too.
Yes.
It's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's very big,
Huge.
yeah.
And I wonder what it was that helped him to stay calm under pressure. What do you think the driving force was for that?
I think it was his friends like Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth, and also God. Maybe God was like just like hiding in the background. He was, telling Lincoln, "You got this. Like, you got this. You do that. You got that.
You got this." Yes, he was a very faithful man, and that was kind of a leading question. But I really admired his faith, and I think that was a good driving force for him to keep the things that are important, and to be focused on the things that are important, which is the individual that's in front of you, and not the storm that's brewing all around you. And stay close to God. Wow. Okay. Faith and citizenship. And as a Catholic school, how do you help students understand the connection between faith, freedom, and responsible citizenship, which I think is huge?
So, as an ELA teacher, I have an opportunity, I have an obligation to teach literature through our Christian Catholic lens. So for every piece of literature that we read, we tie in our catechism. And so one of the things that I like to highlight is character development and growth. And we tie in virtue into how the characters grow and develop and what that means to leadership. And so we take that beyond, Shakespeare. We take it beyond Steinbeck and Orwell. And we talk about what these things mean to us today in 2026, in a world that is, taken over by so much technology, and the obligation that we have as leaders to balance using technology as a tool versus using it as a vice. And so one of the things that I like to highlight is, how we can look at these characters and identify their vices and how they made mistakes. And either it's a tragedy or it's not, So how can we in our daily lives be good leaders, even if it's just in a small group setting where you're working together with your peers, or you are a nurse or an educator? How is it that you are going to take on leadership in your daily life based on the things that you're learning, from these characters, and how it ties into our Catholicism?
It's such a great way, Renee, to make it more personal and give them the tools that they need, so that they can, carry that forward and build those habits now, is basically what I'm saying, so that they can then carry that forward, their faith, and have it be active and incorporate that into the conversations that they're having such an important skill to learn. And kudos to you for really incorporating that into these various characters that they're studying. It's such an important thing.
Thank you. I wish I could take credit for it, but when it comes down to it, this team of teachers that I work with, it's not just me. Each one of them has the same values and incorporates the same values in every single one of their, like in their own material and their own discipline. And so it's a team effort. It's an effort that the students have been exposed to from the moment they set foot in the school at any grade. And so it's just, you can see it. And one of the judges for our essay competition, he's a knight of Columbus. So for our essay competition, we had they were so impressed with the oration that they volunteered to help us with judging of other things. And so we asked them. We reached out to the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Knights of Columbus, and so they judged our essays as well. So one reached out to me in a very lengthy email, and was in the subject was gratitude. And he was just so grateful to get to read these essays because he said that they were so insightful, so patriotic, and you could tell that they had an education that was just so immensely important, and these were going to be good leaders. He was so impressed.
Yeah. Okay, so as America approaches its 250th birthday, what is your hope for our country and for the next generation of Americans? I want both of you to answer this. Go ahead, Renee, you can start.
So my hope for the country moving forward, I hope that with the Freedom 250, more Americans are diving into the Founding Fathers and what the Founding Fathers had to sacrifice to make our country unique and to break away from a monarchy and tyrants. And so I think that people forget that the Founding Fathers were very aware of what a tyrant and a bad leader looks like. And so they wanted to make it different. They had an opportunity to reset, and they had a way to create a very new government, something that was totally different and focused on people and humanity. And my hope for that is that with Freedom 250, we revisit those ideas and just value, the dignity of the human person and how the Founding Fathers, that was at the forefront.
Dignity of the human person and focusing on humanity and all together. How about you, Bonnie?
This is a difficult question. I really do, because I have so many hopes and aspirations. It's hard to nail a simple answer down. My hope is that through teaching these children love of country, which is really love of each other. We're teaching them through the catechism and religious education that the fourth commandment, yes, honor your mother and father, but it is also more broad than that. And Jesus says, who is my neighbor? Everyone is my neighbor. So in teaching these kids, it's my hope that they will see that everyone is their neighbor, that it is good that we unite under a common government, that it is good that we engage in our government, because government, the purpose of government is to promote the common good and to take care of each other. And it is my hope that through these activities and through these educational things, that they will see, yeah, I have to pick up the baton. It's my job now as the next generation to secure the liberties and the blessings that I've received for the next generation, for my generation, and then my children's generation. So it's just the passing on of the baton that is the amazing miracle that is this country, that though it was founded with a variety of people who had weaknesses and strengths, and they were sinners and saints alike, that they will appreciate it, see it's that their responsibility to then pick up the mantle and engage in this beautiful American experiment and pass it on then to the next generations after them.
Okay, as we've heard, the Freedom 250 celebration at St. Catherine of Siena Catholic School is about much more than commemorating an anniversary. It's an opportunity to deepen students' understanding of our nation's history, strengthen their faith, and inspire a lifelong commitment to responsible citizenship, which is definitely that. As America prepares to celebrate its 250th birthday, it's encouraging to see young people learning about the sacrifices, virtues, and ideals that have shaped our country, while also recognizing the important role faith plays in building a hopeful future. If you missed any part of this episode or would like to listen again, you can find this and other inspiring conversations at Divine Mercy Radio. Just click on local shows, divinemercyradio.org. And don't forget, you can take FaithWorks with you wherever you go. Download the free Divine Mercy Radio app from your app store. Simply search Divine Mercy Radio NC and listen anytime, anywhere. As we continue this year of celebrating our nation's heritage, may we all be inspired to live our faith with courage, gratitude, and service to others. St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, St. Catherine Drexel, and St. Catherine of Siena, pray for us. God bless.